Work management platforms. Ugh, endless onboarding, IT bottlenecks, admin requests. But what if things were different?
We found love in an open space.
Monday.com is different. No lengthy onboarding. Beautiful reports in minutes. Custom workflows you can build on your own. Easy to use prompt-free AI. Huh. Turns out you can love a work management platform. Monday.com, the first work platform you'll love to use.
Here we are. And I'm sure everyone has been dying to hear the thoughts now after post-episode of recap and the show of Robert's thoughts on Arrietty Gate right here on RulaskaThoughts. To the sniper girl. Robert's about to unfurl not only his Aztec large cock, but all his thoughts on this something saw. I don't know. They can never get it right at the end. It's rare. It's unusual. I'll give you I'll tell you something.
Okay.
I was toying with the idea. I don't think I'm going to do it now. Because obviously I can't. This week already passed. Where I was going to do a thing. If time was no issue, I was going to have Mr. Blackstone do a roast this week. And I was going to have him roast
How's
the
that different
Afterthought
from
host.
every other week?
Well, no, but it would be a roast the Afterthought host. Which
Got it.
But I was going to do this thing where almost like he does with Sam Starr, I was going to ask him to roast me and Nathan, but he's always very positive about you.
Why me? I'm brown.
Yeah, but these people can have like a fetish.
Which is just who are you telling? Who are you telling,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
But to loop back into that very briefly, I'm already looping back. Hello, this is Robert, for everyone who doesn't know for some reason. I'm not Azteca.
I know you're not, but it's still a
I'm
funny comment to
Tarascan.
make. I was going to say that he was going to say something along the lines of, like, I think I've made this joke before, but it was going to be like, I'm going to try to do my best Blackstone impression, but something like, Robert Mata is here, and I wish he would mata me with his big Aztec cock.
God, the way that I know Mr. Blackstone would message me at 3 a.m. on a Saturday. Hey, Poppy.
You know what's so funny is, and I know there's this thing where I like younger guys, yada, yada, yada. And I've been seeing a lot of like TikToks about these young, first, I'm going to go on a rant for a second. Shocking.
For a second.
Yeah. Is I get a lot of obviously like twink and twunk TikToks, right? and there's this new thing now where, okay, first let me address what I was going to say at first, where they're like, to all the 50-year-olds hitting me up or something like that, yeah, or something, whatever like that, right? Or let's say a joke like you did, right? And I'm like, what 50-year-old has the fucking balls to reach out? That is, I could never. I could never. That is, I see myself as gross. That's so crazy. Okay, one. Two.
Well, I think they're gluttons for punishment.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm going to go to next. Is this TikTok creator, and I've seen the kind of posting I'm going to tell you about, I've seen before, and sometimes it's warranted and sometimes it's not. But I've seen these posts where it'll be like it's always the most basic ass fucking white guy, by the way. Basic. As
And
long
yet
as
you're clicking on it.
No, just coming to my TikTok. And I can still insult them. So it's the most basic ass fucking white guy, right? And he'll say like, there's always the same post, right? But then what I do is I go to the history. Here's why. They go like, guys, I'm getting really disturbed by the messages I'm getting. First of all, I'm straight. So I'm like, yeah, I don't know why all these old dudes are messaging me. Two, like, yeah, guys, I'm just living my life. Okay. Now, I always go back to their history because sometimes they are right. Sometimes they're just posting the most banal shit of them going to the post office and they're getting thirst trap messages, unwarranted, whatever. But there was one recently I just saw. The guy's like, yeah, first of all, it was way back in like TikTok will do that. It's like, it was probably 2 months old. This guy, all he posted was fucking thirst trap posts. And like, in fact, his most recent post at the time was him in these gray sweatpants, and you see his real or unreal cock
Unreal.
just outline in his pants as he's talking about something. I'm like, girl, who you fooling?
It's fascinating to see post-meninism where you see straight men with very few words to express how they're starting to slowly reconcile with the fact that men can be objectified the same way that women can be.
Yes.
In fact, by other men. And then also see the way that they can take advantage of that objectification to garner more views and clicks, but then also try to say, I'm not just a piece of ass, I'm also a person as well. It's just all a swirling typhoon of a mess. And I gotta say, I love it. Just because it's
there's a
camp.
I could do a podcast series on it. It's a weird new trend in gay porn where it's these obvious queer baiters. And I'm like, who are the dummies who are paying for this? Right? Because they don't do anything. God, this would have to be an entire 2-hour episode about
I think we
the
take
Wild
much
podcast.
longer, actually.
Yeah, the Wild podcast, those guys and all their little crew. And I'm like, it's actually insulting to gay men. They are laughing at you, at the money you're throwing at them. And the best revenge you could get is just to ignore them.
Well,
and they're not
I
even
would
that
say
cute.
The oldest enterprise of all time is scamming horny men out of their money.
Fuck, man. A horny man and his money are soon parted. It should be the axiom updated.
That's a tragedy that I'm sure Susie Toot would love to compare to something Shakespearean.
Anyway, we digress. Why don't we do this? Robert, we're going to take a break right here. And we come back. I got to tell you, I have been chomping at the bit. I have been dying to talk to you about this episode. I can't believe we haven't started talking about this episode yet. And we're going to talk about it right now, right after this break.
Long gone are the days of waiting to be seen in a doctor's office only to have that awkward conversation with your healthcare provider. Wisp gives you access to sexual and reproductive healthcare from the comfort of your home. Get treatment for BV, yeast infections, UTIs, and much more delivered directly to your home or ready for pickup at your local pharmacy in less than 3 hours. The best part? Wisp is discreet, convenient, and you don't need medical insurance to receive care or prescription medication. Visit us today at hellowisp.com.
From ADT comes Trusted Neighbor, the new standard in home access. Through the ADT Plus app, easily grant and automate event-based or scheduled access for neighbors, friends, and helpers. Notify trusted individuals of events like alarms or packages, and set access windows for planned guests or even the dog walker without interrupting your day. Visit ADT.com. When every second counts, count on ADT. Requires ADT Complete Pro monitoring plan and compatible devices. Copyright 2025 ADT LLC. All rights reserved.
This episode is brought to you by Prime Video. In the small town of Holland, Michigan, nothing is ever what it seems. Behind the tulip festivals and pretty houses lay dark secrets that threaten to tear a marriage apart. Nicole Kidman stars in this darkly twisted thriller about a wife and mother whose quest to uncover her husband's secrets may get her more than she bargained for. Holland, streaming on Prime Video March 27th.
And we are back. Now, Robert Mata, we're going to talk about this, but I got to tell you, whenever I, edit the show, I see there's 2 tracks, and there's my track and then whomever we're doing the show with. And yesterday's show was an hour and 35 minutes long. And I look at the tracks, and there's a big solid bar on my track, and then like little blips here and there on Nathan's track.
So Mama loves to monologue.
Yeah. I've obviously pontificated enough on this. I probably will pontificate some more. But what is your hot take on this episode? I'm assuming, unless you have other things to talk about first, we're going to talk about Arietti, Lexi Love, and the Jewel Sparkles drama. But do you have any other topics to bring up before that?
I have one,
Yeah.
if only because I'd love to see the internet's outrage about this. And you, fucking, this like, what's it called? You basically edged me with an anti-Joey Nolfi rant, and
Yeah.
on the
I hate
main
that
recap,
faggot.
and I want you to give it to us. Come on, we need the vitriol.
I hate that fucking faggot. I've hated him for years. I don't know why. I was like, I don't want to get it. Because here's the deal.
We as gay people get to hate other gay people.
It's one of these things where I've never talked about this, right? I've never talked about this. I'm of a certain age.
I've
And
heard.
I have friends who are the same age and who openly, okay, look, I have friends who don't listen to the podcast and they don't watch Drag Race. Fine, whatever.
Yeah.
But I have older gay friends who watch Drag Race but don't listen to my podcast, okay? And then will call me and want to talk about Drag Race, which I'm always giving the rude response because fuck you. If you're not going to listen to my podcast, I'll just say, like, listen to my podcast and you'll know my thoughts.
That is fair. That is fair-ish.
Yeah. But then inevitably they'll say, like, it'll somehow come up, oh, do you follow Joey Nolfi?
Oh, really?
Oh! And I'm like, who the fuck? So I've known this for years, and I've never talked about him or my hatred of him because I'm like, this is exactly what he would want. And even now I'm
Absolutely.
breaking my own rule.
Yeah.
But this is exactly what he would want. And
That's why I think it's fun in camp, because yes.
This hovers right in that sphere of, like, I mean, he's in such a narrow niche, is that he does media about Drag Race.
Hyper
right?
gay shit, which I think
Yeah.
there is an element of the internet's fury at him, is that they're a little bit jealous that he gets paid to make his hyper focused interest. It makes him money.
Yeah. And so I'm just like, okay, God, here's the thing.
I didn't mean to spin you out.
I'm always shocked, right? I'm always shocked at how dumb old faggot executives are, and that they don't, because look, that's who runs a big part of this town, and that they're almost as homophobic as straight people, and they have a twisted sense of what we want to see in the media. And Joey Nolfi is exactly who they think we want to see. Now, maybe we do. Maybe I'm missing something, right? It's not
Do
who
you
I
really
want to
think
see.
this?
Yes. I'll give you a good example.
People can be out
Robert,
of touch, but damn.
Robert, I'll give you a perfect example. It has nothing to do with him. How many steps, first of all, everyone should know, to get anything on television or on film is so hard. It's so hard,
God,
right?
don't
Just
get me
from
started.
point A to point B where it actually lands on your television screen, there are so many pitfalls that you can fall through that the show just falls apart immediately. A lot of things, right? Any show you see, I don't care how stupid it is, right? The Everybody Loves Kevin, or what I don't know that show. What's the one with the mall cop guy? What was that one? According
Paul
not according
Blart?
to Jim. Yeah, but remember that guy Kevin James? What was the name of that show?
Grounded for Life?
I don't
King
know.
of Queens?
King of Queens. You're like, oh, that was a big hit. Any horrible show, you're like, oh, I can't believe someone. You don't know how many steps. It's not like it had to go through so many steps to get there. It's a miracle you made it on the air. And this fucking Real Friends of WeHo was what MTV, and there's a lot of faggots who work at MTV.
How did we
Right?
get here?
The Real Friends of WeHo is what they thought we wanted to see, right? And I was like, this is who you think we want to see? Oh, I've forgotten to talk about this. Oh my God, how I just remembered this right now.
Oh.
Oh my God, how have I forgotten to fucking talk about this? Holy shit. My life is
Spit
too
it out,
crazy right
girl.
now.
Come on.
People are going to die when they hear this. I was at Disneyland the other day,
Okay.
like for John Paul's 50th, okay? A week or two ago.
You bought someone a drink and they said, thank you.
Worse. He wanted to go eat at this Tiana's Bayou Adventure place or whatever, some food place, right? Sitting diagonally from me. Diagonally.
With the masses?
With the masses. With his dumb friends. Todrick Hall.
Girl, get the faggot off the TV. I'm not watching that.
Wasn't he on this Real Friends of WeHo?
I don't know. I didn't watch that, obviously.
Yeah, I think he was. The only good thing that came out of Real Friends of WeHo is we got shorter episodes of Drag Race. Anyway, the point
I do agree
is,
with that. Yes.
Yeah. The point is, the Real Friends of WeHo is how Hollywood sees us as a community. They think that's what we want to see. Same thing with this Finding Prince Charming.
Dire.
This is who they think we want to see, right? And Joey Nolfi is in that same crew. He's in that same, not that he hangs out with them, but like he's in that group that they go, oh, this is who the faggots want to see. This annoying asshole. This sycophantic. I see him on the fucking red carpet. The fucking sycophant. And you know what? Everyone's coming down on this girl. I meant to talk to Jay Ellis about this. That interviewed the Megan Thee Stallion, right? And they're like, oh, she was so disrespectful. And I was like, look, she wasn't very smooth at this, right? But did you see this? You know what I'm talking about, Robert?
I don't. But I do appreciate when anyone gets held to the fire.
There was this influence. They put these influencers on the red carpet for like some event. Oh, the Vanity Fair Oscar party. And Megan Thee Stallion is there, and they're interviewing her, and the bitch just wants to talk about her dress. And the one girl one of the girls, the influencer girl, starts flipping the fuck out. Flipping out, almost crying. And she's like, I love you. Your music means everything to me. I listen to it every morning, and I listen to it when I want to fight. And she said, I listen to it when I want to fight. And Megan Thee Stallion is pretty much like, I just want to talk about my dress, right? And everyone's like, oh, this is my, and my whole thing is, yeah, look, it's cringy. Be a normal person on the red carpet, right? But who cares about fucking Megan Thee? She calls herself The Stallion. Didn't somebody shoot her?
I don't really follow, but a lot of my friends are big fans.
I don't know what
so
it
I
is.
know that this was it her foot that got shot?
Something, right?
Does it have something to do with Trey Songz?
I don't know, girl. I just know that this girl, like, what, we have to pay respect now to Megan Thee Stallion. All of a sudden, she's Michelle Obama. What? Who cares about Megan Thee Stallion? She should always be. Isn't she always in these like Twitter wars with people and saying stupid shit? Who cares if someone shot her in the foot? Thank you. But this is also what happens when you put influencers on the red carpet. The point is, I think I've given too much time to this Joey Nolfi. I didn't want to talk about him. Do you have thoughts on him? You see him all the time at High Tops.
I think it's less.
He's hit you up on Grindr.
That's participating in the nasty, malicious gay faggotry that I'm supposed to be against, right? I'm not going to say whether or not that's happened. Who cares? The truth is, I think it's less the Real Friends of WeHo, less Finding Prince Charming, and more that bootsy ass 24 Hours of Love with Vanjie show. That
that one too. Wait, who was the cast member of?
I just feel like he's in that group of people. He's not successful or hot or interesting or smart enough to be at least like on like Brad Goretzky's level of Real Friends of WeHo. Not that Brad's many of those things, but he is a cut above.
You're right, because did you see that this lawsuit against Shangela?
I've seen several of them, and
the newest one, and it was a guy who was on this Real Something Love of Vanjie or whatever. He's a porn star. I've seen his stuff. He's so mid. He's one of these people who, like, I guess he's a twink because of his body type, and I guess kind of is. But his head and his face are way too small for his body.
Oh, like the Koopas from the old Mario movie?
Yeah.
Or were they Goomba? No, they're Koopas. Goomba?
Yeah.
No, they're Goombas.
He looks like a jigsaw puzzle piece.
It's been a while.
And so... And always had like really bad facial hair. I'm like, oh, like, look, no one should rape anybody, but if you're gonna rape somebody, have better taste.
Oh, you're on fire lately, Joe.
I know. I told Robert before that I may have gone a little ham on the bulimia stuff. And now I'm saying that if you're going to rape someone, have better taste.
No, like call you Bruce Springsteen, Mama. You are on fire.
Anyway, Robert, so that's the Joey Nolfi stuff. Now we're all dying to hear your hot take on this Arietti, Jewel Sparkles, Lexi Love shit.
In terms of chronology, I think Lexi spiraled first, so let's talk about her spiraling first.
Mm-hmm.
I almost feel bad for the gal because she really came into the season kind of like Silky Nutmeg Ganache did, where, you know, she was by far the fan favorite, and everyone was like, I can't see how she doesn't win. It's so obvious that she has it and no one else has it. And, you know, they paint her as this grandmother figure, and like they're also trying to do the trans angel narrative that we've referenced a few times. Mm-hmm. And every episode they just continually chip more and more and more at the facade that the audience thought they saw in the first couple of weeks, you know? So it's been a very tantalizingly, agonizingly slow descent into, she's just another crap, nasty person. I know you've said it for weeks, but I think that the general audience is fully locking into that. And it would take a lot for Lexi to have like a PR spin and have an upward swing in the final few episodes that we have remaining. I feel bad for her, to be honest with you. I don't know if she deserves all that just because she's hyper emotional.
Dude, I would love to know what's going on in the cast group chats and what's been going on.
Mm-hmm.
But I wonder what they think. Like, what happens when does Lexi look at this at her home bar, or wherever she's looking at this, and think to herself, like, oh, I was right? Or is she like kind of cringing in embarrassment? Same for Arietti.
It might even be the thing where she goes home later that very night in a filming and already feels, you know, she's cringing at herself and trying to be like, fuck, why did I do that while the cameras were rolling? Why did I, you know, spiral on recorded television that's going to air in 8 to 12 months? Like, I personally would be tearing myself up about that the very same day that I did it. So I imagine it's very anxiety inducing for her.
Let's stick with Lexi for a bit. Do you understand? I mean, I know what her logic is. People don't know Lex, because sometimes I realize I didn't really explain the drama as well in the show, but I assumed everyone had watched it, but we do have a number of people who don't watch the show.
Mm-hmm.
Is Lexi Love, they were trying to choose the lineup for the roast. And she was actually the first one that Jules called on, asking her, where do you want to be? And Lexi always has this overconfidence when she comes to performance challenges, was like, I want to go last. That's what I want to be. I want to close out the show. I want to go last. And then they go around with the other people. And then they release the lineup, and Lexi's gotten her wish. She's last. But now she's angry that she's following Jewel Sparkles, and she spirals.
She's following Susie.
I'm sorry, yeah. Following Susie too. And she spirals. And it just makes no sense, because I could maybe see it, but then people are continually reminding, every time she goes to them and complains, they're reminding her that this was the position she asked for. And you would think she'd be like, oh, I guess I did. But there's none of that.
I think she displayed a solid sense of self-awareness that really illustrates most of the tension when she says, while I was smoking meth, Susie Toot was sitting there studying and like learning the basics of this kind of stuff. So I think that describes her entire issue with the Susie of it all.
Wait, I'm going to ask you a question. It's going to sound really dumb of me. I guess I don't pay attention to the show as much. Wait, has she really admitted to being a meth addict?
I don't know if she was admitted to full-blown addiction, but she definitely said she was using meth.
Oh, okay. I've missed this, right?
And it was something that was very obviously alluded to in the early episodes, but it became explicit this episode.
So I think I'm allowed to say this. I'll say it anyway. Okay, I'll couch it in. It'll be the most thinly veiled whatever. But there is somebody we know who is an expert in this field, not because they use meth, but they work with people who use or have used or were going through meth addiction.
Sure.
And they are an expert in this field. And I would love to have a conversation with them, because I would argue, now that I know that, it explains a lot more. Like I've mentioned many times before, I lost a friend to meth addiction, and he completely changed. His personality fundamentally changed. The brain chemistry was completely rewired.
As do many gays who get involved in the party capital T scene. Yeah.
Yeah. And so this is explaining so much with Lexi of why she is a crazy person. She's rewired her brain chemistry. I don't know why I missed the meth thing. And according to Nathan, she talks about it all the time.
She, like we've critiqued, she alludes to, I'm such a strong, person who's endured so much. And I think that combined with her, she does look a little sallow. So I thought it was like a lightly coded, obvious, like, oh, she probably had, I actually thought it was heroin in the early episodes, but past that.
So look, here's the deal. I should have said this on the show, but I've alluded to the fact that I don't totally buy Ariette's eating disorder story. But on the flip side, for the reasons you said, I completely 100% buy Lexi Love's story. And as I said in the show, there's no way you go through that and come out unscathed. And you're right. On Just Between Us Girls, for those of you who don't listen, we did have a brief conversation about this porn creator on Twitter who has a perfect dick, but he looks like an ashtray come to life. And he's straight, and some of the girls he shows himself videos hooking up with look like Lexi Love. Not literally, but like...
No, I mean, it's a very difficult thing to talk about, because it's inevitably, you can say that someone's just being too harsh or too judgmental, or we don't discuss these things, to quote Michelle Visage. But I mean, it's also a blatantly obvious thing that we're all looking at together. So why can someone not say it?
Look, let's be honest here. I said that she should have played Countess Luann. And this is going to be a deep cut I'm going for. She could have played Tonya Harding's mother in I, Tonya, too, for Snatch Game.
Is I, Tonya now considered a deep cut?
What? But who talks about I, Tonya anymore?
I feel like it's a solid reference. It's on the fringes of the zeitgeist still, I think.
Did Allison Janney win an Oscar for that?
I don't know, but Allison Janney should win a million Oscars. I enjoy her in all her roles.
Yeah, she looks like Allison Janney. Like, she's good. But when we revisit her in 5 years, and she's gonna look like Allison Janney and I, Tonya. Just speak the truth.
Well, anyways, so to cycle it all back, apart from just nasty gay judgments, I think that the problem with her is that, and okay, well, to preface this, Suzanne is not funny, clever, or smart enough to be able to make jokes about the fact that she's too smart, funny, or clever. It just comes off as fucking annoying. Read the goddamn room, Megamind. Like, it's just, she does what Sasha Velour loved to do in her first season, which is showboat about her intelligence and just not actually back it up with anything particularly intelligent. Like, oh, I'm updating. This is a classic look where I'm updating the silhouette to show like a commitment to women who are strong. What the fuck is that? That's such a Suzanne-ass thing. Yeah. But this episode was full of her saying cerebral, when she's trying to say it with a glint in her eye. Like, oh, I'm so in on the joke, right? I'm so smart, but I am so smart. I'm like, God, shut up, Susie. I just want to fucking slap her upside the head and be like, we're not 12 years old and fucking honors social studies anymore, sis. But anyway.
So you don't like Susie too?
I don't like the smug way that she has continued to conduct herself. I think that it is her hubris, it is her downfall, and she's not even doing well enough to merit feeling that way about herself. But the narrative of the season is that she is that one. She is the funny one. She's the cerebral one, if you would. And I love Anya for calling her out in that table read about it by being like, none of her fucking jokes went over my head.
Yeah, that was a good moment.
But regardless, that is the character that Susie's filling right now, and that's in like almost diametric opposition to it's book smarts versus street smarts, and Lexi considers herself a street smart gal. So they're clashing because of that. And that's why Lexi spiraled out. It's because she fucking hates Susie and everything that Susie stands for, because Lexi feels like she's had such a hard, difficult life, and this privileged little fucking nerd is going to come in and be better than me, but I deserve this. I've gone through so much difficult things. You don't know anything because you've sat in your ivory tower and you've not been through anything negative, but I've been through everything. I'm a student. She didn't go to college, but she's a, fucking summa cum laude from the, what did they used to put on Facebook? The University of Life. Yeah, the School of Hard Knocks versus, I don't know, a little kid from Vassar.
Yeah.
So
she's the kid from the Vaseline.
I think that's the story that's being told here. It just hasn't really come to a head.
I buy it. You've said everything I want to say.
Well,
I will say,
and again, I feel bad for Lexi because obviously she has been through a bunch of awful things.
Horrible things.
It's just tough to be on television and have to reckon with that, especially with someone who is nearly a decade younger and is so fucking smarmy about it all the time. Arietti's right. Shut the fuck up, Susie. Let people be mad.
I can't remember what his guy's fucking name is. One of these, there's always these celebrities that as time goes by, we forget who they are, but they were very big. And there was this guy, he was a World War II hero.
Okay.
And I can't remember his name, but he actually was, when you read his story, it's fucking insane. Like, you're like, holy shit, that is the definition of a war hero, right? I can't remember his name. And it happened to be, he was also very handsome. Okay?
Very useful on the battlefield.
Yeah. Well, no, but no, it was useful after he got out of the war because they tried to make, because he was so famous for being a war hero, they tried to make him a movie star. He actually was in some pretty successful films.
Oh, that's an interesting way of lionizing
I can't remember his
someone.
name. And he was very handsome. And then he made a few movies and he just disappeared, went on the speaking circuit and did stuff like that, right? But what we found out later was he was just so fucked up from the war. Mm-hmm. We didn't have a word for it there. And they used to call it like shell shock or something like that, right?
Yeah.
But what we now know as, PTSD. And his life was very, very hard and very, very difficult. And there were demons he had to fight and hide and whatnot. And so it speaks to this too. Like, yeah, Lexi has found some success and she's gone through some shit, but like, yeah, you're going to have PTSD and you're going to be not a good person. And in a weird kind of way, you have to allow her to not be a good person. The last thing she should have been was on a reality show.
Give people grace.
Yeah, give people grace.
But it is, again, there is the element like you talked about with your own mother, where it's like, just because you're self-aware about your problems doesn't suddenly absolve you of like the consequences of them. And in fact, it might make it worse because you're actually not addressing the problem. You're just letting it continually affect others.
Yes, 100%. Now let's go to one of our cousins, Aria.
I wish that wasn't true, but goddamn.
Well, especially since you're in the Central Valley, there's more.
She's one of my nasty younger cousins, to be clear.
Yeah.
All my younger cousins,
she's
if
not
you
from
ever
Modesto,
hear this,
she's
I don't
from,
think
like,
any of y'all are nasty.
She's from like Bakersfield or something, right?
Well, I actually don't know. I just know that she lives in Seattle. But,
She lives in
Bakersfield,
Seattle now, but
Fresno, Modesto, they're all the same sister cities.
She moved from California. She's from one of those like Central Valley like cities.
I didn't know that. I mean, I know this girl. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Inside and out. That's for sure. She would definitely be a nasty, evil little faggot while hiding behind a lot of the cholas in the Cookie Monster pants eating hot Cheetos. I know the type.
By the way, just it's a little side story. We were having a conversation. I work with a bunch of like, they're not cholas, but they made one decision where they just weren't. It's like either you're a chola or you're a dental hygienist. Okay. And
don't talk shit on my mother.
And they went the dental hygienist route, but they still have the essential seed there, right?
I love these girls.
And
I love to go to eat and talk shit with them.
And we were all talking yesterday, and the conversation about favorite ice cream came up. And one of them, God bless her, she was like, well, I'm boring. I like vanilla. And everyone's like, oh, okay, whatever. But she's like, and don't knock it till you tried it. You got to do it. I know it sounds gross, but you got to do it. Hot Cheetos. And I'm like, is there anything that these fucking goddamn Mexicans won't put hot Cheetos on?
It's like when I was in like first grade, I think. We had like a barbecue at school, and all the white kids were like, you have to have mayonnaise on your hot dog. And I was like, what? But I tried it, and honestly, it wasn't terrible. I haven't had it since, but for some reason, a light bulb memory or whatever they're called for me.
Yeah.
I don't know why I remember that.
White people put fucking mayonnaise on everything. Oh, look, remember one of Lori's biggest
that's
family
like the
feuds?
oldest, lamest white people jokes.
Lori's but it's funny when it's a stereotype. Lori, there's a big rift in Lori's extended family where they don't see one side of the extended family because one family uses best foods and the other side, which by the way on the East Coast is called Hellman's. I don't know why there's a different name east of the Colorado River.
I mean, why are Pavilions, Vaughn's, and Safeway all called different things when it's the same fucking store?
But
even
Hellman's
within California,
Best Foods, and then the other side of the family, not Lori's side, uses Miracle Whip, and they don't talk to each other.
It doesn't take much,
Yeah,
this is the Montagues.
Yeah, it's about mayonnaise or like salad. I think Miracle Whip is technically a dressing.
Love that. Well, also,
anyway,
to correct myself, it's a flashbulb memory. I don't know why I have that locked in. But I don't mean to make white people jokes like Lana Del Rey's awful set.
Oh, I love white people jokes.
I love good white people jokes, but they were all rote, lame ones.
Arietti.
We have to accept what we've said in the past, and as you said, applaud a nasty spirit for behaving like a nasty spirit.
Yeah.
And I don't hate Arietti. I have said a million times that she's really quite a flat character and not an interesting one. And honestly, this kind of remains true. She did probably one of the most explicitly villainous things that anyone's ever done on this show, period.
Yeah.
And she still managed to make it kind of boring.
Yeah.
She didn't know to play it up for the camera in a fun way. She just continued to do her little slight giggle and little baby smirk and then continually spout out karma like a fucking idiot little baby gay hiding behind the cholas eating hot Cheetos. You know, I'm just like, I wish she was better at her job. I wish she was better at her personality.
I'm wondering how much of this is an element of, I'm a fat man, so I can't see this ever happening to you. But let's say you buy a box of Girl Scout cookies.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I like those lemon ones. I don't know what they're called. And they come with a plastic tray, and there's 2 rows in the plastic tray of cookies.
Uh-huh.
And you open the box, and you're like, okay, I'm gonna have like 3 or 4 cookies. And you have 3 or 4 cookies, and you go like, I'll have 3 or 4 more.
This is me with Oreos, yes.
And then you're like, well, that's gonna look weird. Yeah, I might as well finish the
whole thing. Mm-hmm.
Well, just the half of the tray. You eventually get to the whole thing,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Because now I'm gonna have half a tray, you know. So then, and I'm wondering how much of this in a villain type thing was Arietti was like, well, I'm already here. Let's just go all the way. I don't think it started out that way. I think it started out organically. But how are you? Because here's the thing. Did you watch this Untucked?
I didn't. I didn't have time, unfortunately.
No big deal. It is a good Untucked, but right before they go on stage, I mean, literally right before, like they already called the 5 minutes. Arietti and Jules are able to have at least somewhat whatever constructive conversation they could have in that short amount of time.
Sure.
And I feel that there's a movie like this, or there's a plot, but maybe people will know the movie I'm talking about, where it's the protagonist and the antagonist, and maybe, you know what? Like Wicked.
I was going to say, are you talking about Wicked? Because for some
There's a
reason,
lot of
that was the
movies.
very first thing that popped up into my head. They're singing For Good before they're about to go dance to Ya Ya.
I have a song parody idea. Okay.
Something has changed within me.
And
I realize that's not for good, for the way.
no, I know.
You know how gays are about fucking Wicked.
Oh, I know. Don't get me wrong. I don't know why I said don't get me wrong. Anyway, the point is, they actually have somewhat of a conversation, and it's like it is like Wicked. Now that I think about it, this is the last conversation that they're gonna have before they go out and not be friends anymore, right? And they settle whatever they can. And guys, there's gonna be a song parody coming your way this week.
I love
bonus
being
content.
gay. I love being. Let's compare Drag Race to Wicked.
Yeah, and they go out and she goes home, and you would think, because they film their going home thing. Well, it's really interesting, and I wish we got to see more of this. They used to show it more, but people should know the lipstick mirror message is. Oh no, it's never mind. No, it's filmed right after. I was thinking about when they pack up their shit. They've settled things about, well, I guess she didn't write anything cunty to Jules. I don't know. Do you think they're friends again? What do you think the story is?
I think they were friends of convenience and by a very shallow sense of we're Latina, and didn't really have, I don't know that they knew each other as people at all. And I think if you're going to be friends with someone who lives on the other side of the country as you should probably be friends as people.
Yeah.
I don't know what else. I don't know.
Yeah, Christian and I are a good example in that we were brought together because we were in this program. We were the two gays who lived near each other, right? And it could have easily, if there was something like this that happened, gone our separate ways, even though we were friends. The friendship didn't really cement itself until after the program. And I don't know. But then there's this weird thing though with Drag Race or anything like this where you're tied together for the rest of your career.
Yes, that is the sisterhood that someone like Alexis Michelle, she's like that annoying coworker who's always like, we're a family here. That's like that's like a thing,
Or if you were
everyone's a sister.
Or I think like Gilligan's Island only went for like 2 seasons. And the rest of their lives, they were all like showing up at reunions together and all this shit. And you're like, the show ran for 2 seasons. That's
very
new thing.
Quick digression. I think DragCon was canceled this year.
Yeah, that's what I'm hearing.
Yeah. But anyways, in absence of DragCon, the girls are obviously going to see each other for season 17 tours. Season 17, I don't know if they're going to get booked for Voss together. They'll obviously see each other late at night in the club all the time with the influence of alcohol affecting things. So.
Oh, they'll for sure go to Roscoe's. We love each other, but do they really? Here's the deal. Let's go back to the DragCon conversation. From what I knew, this is what's weird, is the LA one was the most successful one. That was the flagship one. That was the one that people actually flew out for it. I think the other ones were more locals. I mean, not the drag queens, but I'm talking about the people who attended the cons, the hoi polloi, if you will. The
people
LA's
really
the one
would
that I know
fly in from all over.
Yeah, to attend as a convention goer. I wonder what the story is behind that.
My first pass at finding a solution would be assuming that LA Convention Center is just significantly more expensive than the other venues, and that's why they haven't been able to justify like ticket sales versus charging queens like what, $5,000, $10,000 a booth, some absurd number. It just seems like it just got too big for its own britches.
Yeah, but they were also making content there and whatnot. They would make those like dumb. I don't know.
Awful.
I wonder what the story is. I'm very curious to hear what that story. Oh, I actually know someone I could text about that.
Again, I love being gay.
Remind
There's always a girl to
in
call.
2 hours to text. What was I going to say? Okay, before the last few moments here, any thoughts on the roast itself? Just the roast.
I wonder if Lana Jarre was intending on having a through line between her set about wrote white people jokes versus her like direct recreation of a parody of a MAGA hat. I guess the stars aligned for her, but I'm glad that she got some positive feedback finally. She still is, to me, that character from Orange is the New Black who just says yeah to everything, and I'm just going to keep watching that until she goes home, because that's I'm locked in with that. And Anya surprisingly did not do well.
No, she didn't.
I was very shocked at how very safe she was. Like, I would not say she should have been anywhere near the bottom, because you are also right that they edited both Susie's and Lexi's to essentially be in dead air. Mm-hmm. And then similarly, Sam's was about 2 jokes and then they cut.
Yeah.
So
but
the whole thing was very strange.
I should add this. The reason I also have this conspiracy theory that there were ringers brought in to write for them or help them or coach them or finesse their jokes is roast jokes are very difficult to write. And,
don't I know it?
Oh, it's true, yeah. And especially in a short time period. And also, like, stand-up comedy itself is already about concision. Mm-hmm. And it's even hyper so in roast. If you actually really watch real roast jokes, you'll tell that they, like, drop out as many words as they can. They try to make it as concise and to the point and short and deadly as possible. And a lot what you see in amateur stand-up and roast is they go too long. Mm-hmm, you know, they're just like going on and on and on and on. And you know, some of the jokes that like Lana and I don't know if I buy too much with Lydia, but like some of them like were so, not that they were necessarily good, but they had a structure and a finesse that I was like, I don't know that person who's never done stand-up would have that, the knowledge to do that.
The person who the supposed behind-the-scenes tea got help was Trinity K. Bonet in season 6.
Thank you.
And I really truly do believe that, because that girl can't string a cogent sentence together in any other context.
Yeah, there's something afoot. I don't know what it is. You know, I saw this ridiculous thing on Reddit, citing a source, where
oh, you're foul.
Where someone wrote that I don't know where this even happened, that this episode's ranked among the season 9 finale and the season 16 Lollapalooza as like the best episode of Drag Race ever. And I was like,
statistically speaking, like in terms of like ratings on IMDb,
I don't know. I didn't go. I saw it. I was like, this is such stupidity that you see on Reddit that I'm just gonna just move on. So I didn't stare too deeply at it.
I don't think any episode that has a song as hyped as Yaya with a fairly unremarkable lip sync could be conceived or perceived as one of the best episodes of Drag Race ever.
And also the roast is mid at best.
No, why the fuck did Lydia win other than storyline?
I mean, her jokes were who did you think's jokes were the best?
None of them.
I think Nathan had a good thought that maybe they didn't want Sam to see so strong.
I think that probably, I'm no big fan of Sam Starr, but I do think at least what we saw, she did the best.
Yeah. And I think they wanted to hide that because then it would be like, well, why isn't Sam Starr even in the conversation? You know?
Yeah.
And so, and also had a better look than, that's the thing is like, Lydia's look wasn't very good.
It never is.
Yeah, I think RuPaul was trying to say, like, oh, this reminds me of those club kids I used to hang out with. Yeah, where are they now? Either in jail or dead because someone murdered them.
Is that Michael League reference?
Yes.
Also, another correction, because I said it first and I've heard you say it, so I'm correcting both of us. Mm-hmm. Crystal Abeja was in The Queen, not Pageant.
I don't know what these things are called.
I know, but I think that we should correct ourselves when we say wrong things.
No, you're right.
Also, the Spanish dancer is a real fish.
Mm-hmm. Did I never bring that up?
Sea slug or whatever. No, but I was corrected there too. So.
I think I told whoever said it somewhere. I said, "Listen, don't tell him this. He will flip the fuck out." Tacos are
No,
not
I'm
a
totally
real thing in
fine
Mexico.
being proven wrong. You just have to prove it.
By the way, I get emails all the time. They're usually about boring things that wouldn't be worth bringing. Like I got one today, and it was more about how we post the show in so many different places. I forget to put it here or there, and this person was like, "You haven't posted in 3 weeks on this one thing." I was like, "Oh, sorry." But now they're all afraid of me. They're all like, "Joe, I'm so sorry, sir." And they're like, and I'm like, "Look, I'm not gonna just block you for whatever reason. You have to fucking groom me as a friend for 2 years, fly out to California, use up all my resources, and then block me, and then that's when I get blocked."
Something has changed within me.
I know. Thank you. Defying brevity is what I'm gonna call this show. All right. Well, we're gonna call it a day there. Robert, what do you got going on for next week? Actually,
Travels, journeys, enjoying springtime. I love spring. I'm going to Guadalajara in a couple weeks. That'll be fun.
Guadalajara. I wonder how much
Yeah,
time people are already sick of fucking hearing that fucking song. What do you think?
What song is that? I don't know what you're talking about.
You don't know that song?
I'm like right now. I'm listening to like Don Henley and Steely Dan, so I don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
No, this is like a standard. You go to fucking Acapulco for the Sunday brunch. The mariachis are gonna sing that song.
Oh, well, that hasn't been the mariachi that my family is exposed to. We'll see.
I don't know what kind of special mariachi you're exposed to.
Well, you know that there's
They
a
all
fucking
ended.
kid's third
Dun,
birthday
dun,
party, and they're like, can
dun,
everyone put
dun.
in $500 for the mariachi? And I'm like, I hate mariachi and banda. Right? Not as much as I used to as a kid, but they're so cacophonous and loud.
Banda, I can't stand. A good mariachi, I can take for a while.
I can take it now because I love kind of not pressuring, but applauding viscerally when my family chooses to bring a mariachi that's mostly women. I'm like, yes, this was the right choice, everyone.
LA does have the all gay mariachi too. It's a mix of
I don't
women
know
and
if we
men.
need all that, actually.
Look,
It's going to be
already
Joey
all mixed
Nolfi
of-
of mariachis.
Don't.